Hey guys, it's Adam aka Swimming Bird, and welcome to the new snapshot for Minecraft 1.9. This is 15W35A and B, arriving a little early. The developers are on a workshop this week, but we still got plenty of new features and important changes to talk about, including a rebalance to the controversial buffs and nerfs of weapons and tools from last time, and we'll get into that in a second. And we'll also tell the tale of the tragic fall from power of the Diamond Hoe. But let's check out the other features real quick. So over here, you can see zombie villagers, just like in Pocket Edition, now have their own unique skins based off of profession. And you can see they have different levels of deterioration for each one. They all have their unique look to them. No longer do zombie villagers just immediately change into Steve clothing when they become zombies. And some of them, they've got some weird little unique features. This guy, the Butcher, looks like he's in a DreamWorks movie or something because he's got that snarky raised eyebrow and a weird boil on his nose. The Blacksmith looks like he's been rolling around in the dirt or something brown. And yeah, some of them like have cataract eyes. There's a lot of cool little details. I like them a lot. And it's not just an aesthetic change as well. They now have a villager profession tag on them. So you can see the skin shows you what the profession is, but if you were to cure them, you would get that profession as well. So that's a nice little feature as well for people that like to hunt down zombie villagers and cure them so that they can trade. Now you might have noticed this guy over here doesn't look as deteriorated. This is the green-robed villager, the zombie version, and what's interesting is that green-robed villagers were taken out of the game a while back. You can't spawn them in anymore, and this could just be a little bit of insurance in case someone with an older version of the game has these guys still and they turn into zombies, they wanted a skin for it. But it could also be a hint that maybe green-robed villagers might get added into the game and have their own profession. I would like that a lot. But yeah, it's nice that these all have their own look. I would love to see more mob skin variations. Like the normal zombies could definitely use some other looks. We could use some Alex zombies to go with the Steve ones at least. Now over here, we've got some really quick command block changes. You can see just aesthetically, they've got this black outline around the little buttons there, which looks pretty nice. Makes them look a bit more, I don't know, they stand out more. They definitely pop. And they've got some new abilities now. So you can see this says needs redstone, and that is just how a normal command block would work. If you power it with redstone, it will activate, but you can also change that to always active. And you can see when it's always active, it will just run that command. So this is a repeating command block. It just constantly summons those orbs. So let's turn that off. And you probably also noticed that they have arrows different on some of these. That's because we have this unconditional, conditional little toggle here. And if you turn it to conditional, it means it has to have a command block next to it that successfully runs for it to power. But now there's like a visual difference, so it's a little easier to sort as well. But it's cool that you don't even have to power these with redstone to activate them. A lot faster and a lot easier. Now before we get into those combat changes, I wanted to mention one more thing. There's now a slot tag that you can put on items and blocks and things. So I'm going to summon in a diamond chest plate, and we've got some modifiers to its attributes. It's going to give me plus 10 health. And now you can tell where you're going to need to, wear this or hold it for it to activate. So this will be a diamond chest plate, and you'll put it on your torso as normal. You can see it adds plus 10 to my max health, and if we go into survival, you'll be able to see I've got a few more hearts than usual there. But you can distinguish whether it needs to be in your offhand or your main hand or where you have to wear something for it to give you those extra abilities. So it's a lot more customizable for map makers, and you can do some cool stuff with that. Okay, so over here, if you remember last snapshot, last video, we made this this giant chart here, and it's got a scale, so you can see each of those little spots with the apples are 1 heart of damage, and all the weapons are scaled on there. From the top, we've got the diamond axe, which does 5 hearts per hit, and down at the bottom, all of the hoes only do half a heart, so that's what those black notches are. They're half a heart on there, so like the diamond sword does 3.5. So this has been changed quite a bit from last time. They've rebalanced these, and everything pretty much got changed. I think the sword might be the only one that wasn't affected. So you can see on my hotbar, I've ranked these tools by the fastest attack speed to the slowest. So the hoes are still very quick, but they don't do that much damage. And then the sword is a little slower. The pick has been slowed down a bit as well, and it's quite a bit slower now. It's not faster than the sword. And the shovel is very slow as well. The axe actually got sped up a little bit. So you can see this is using the new attack speed, so we got to wait for this to fill up before we can do max damage. And if you missed some of the earlier snapshots where we talked about this, this is the attack strength system that was just added recently. So check out those other snapshots too if you want to get more info on that. So yeah, the axe is a little faster, but you can see it doesn't do quite as much damage. The axes have been scaled down a little bit damage-wise. That happens to help it even out. So it's a little faster, but does less damage, but that makes it just under the sword in damage most of the time. And here is a list of the top 18 weapons. You can see the top 4 are still the same, the swords and axes of the best materials, but the diamond hoe is no longer number 5. It fell all the way to number 15, and I'll explain that in a second. But you can see it's pretty predictable which weapons are going to do the most damage. Around here is when axes start to do more damage than swords, even though they're slower. And we also have the diamond pick and diamond shovel in there. The shovels from last time, they used to be all just above swords in terms of damage, but they've been nerfed pretty hard here. You can see they don't do quite as much now. And it's going to be tougher to be a Shovel Knight out there, but at least you can play Shovel Knight if you want to do that. I think what they did with all these rebalancing is that they're leaving some gaps here to have some weapons like a dagger. I'm theorizing that we're going to get other types of weapons, but I'm really hoping because of these attributes that we've got a lot of range here for like a fast dagger or, you know, a spear or something that has more range, and we might see those in the coming weeks. Now, the hoes got probably the biggest hit, so they had a huge buff last week. The diamond hoe, if you put a sharpness 5 book on it, it was by far the best weapon in the game. Now, you can't put sharpness in survival on hoes, you have to be in creative, but because of how lightning fast this thing is, you can do hits really quickly, and with a little buff, it was doing pretty well. Even at only 1 damage, because of the speed, it was like doing crazy amounts of DPS here, and that's what that skill is. That's the damage per second. So axes still do the most damage per single hit, but remember, swords are better because they can charge faster. They also have that new sweep attack that we mentioned last time, and of course axes can break shields temporarily. But hoes, you can see, it's very strange here. So they have a new system now. They're the only weapons or tools that scale their attack speed based on material. So gold and wooden ones, they're basically identical in most ways. They have a pretty slow attack speed. It's equal to the shovel. You can see it kind of hits at the same speed or charges up at the same speed as the shovel. Now, once you start upgrading material, this is the stone one. It's pretty quick. The iron is even quicker, and then the diamond is just like lightning fast, almost like a punch with how fast it is to recharge its attack. There it goes, very close to the punch. But yeah, because their damage got nerfed, they are not quite as good, but they do charge up differently based on material. I don't know if that's going to be something that'll universally happen with the other ones. Right now, it doesn't work for anything but hoes. But so tragically, we had that 1 week where hoes were like crazy good for battling, but I think this is a good sign because if they had that niche before for garden hoes to be like super fast, then they wouldn't need something like a dagger. But by nerfing it, now we can use those for gardening and occasionally hitting zombies that wander into our farm or something. But I think that in general, it just makes some of the tools a little more viable. The sword and the axe are really the ones you're going to be wanting to be using because of that extra damage, shield breaking, sweeping attack, all that good stuff. But this does leave the door wide open for more types of weapons, which is really what I'm hoping for. And hoes actually do lose durability when you hit stuff now, so they don't have that advantage either. That was added in the D snapshot last week, but I didn't happen to catch that. So a few other things, some optimization. They put in a few experimental performance enhancements. I haven't noticed that. Those are illegal in most sports, but no. This is, it's supposed to run a bit better, but I can't really tell just from, playing, setting up stuff. And also they fixed some memory leaks with the client, so hopefully it won't hog up all of your computer's memory. Thank you guys again for watching, and I don't mention this too often, but if you do want to subscribe, there's definitely going to be more snapshots to come covering 1.9 content, and we play some other games as well. There's a link down in the description if you want to do that, as well as a link to my Twitter. You can see when new videos pop up, and I talk to people some more directly on Twitter too, so if you got a question and you don't want to try to fight through the comments to get it answered, talk to me at SwimmingBird941 on Twitter. Thank you guys again for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time for some more Minecraft.